A3C weekend, we getting it in. Got a special exclusive. Don't you go anywhere. I got the homie Rockstar JT. Yo, what's going on? It's Ruslan with KingDreamENT.com. This channel exists to encourage, empower, and inspire you to live out God's dream. I got a special guest, one of my favorite new artists in the CHH community. His brother's kind of been around for a minute. I feel like I've known him for a minute, but as of late, seems like he's really starting to find his pocket. Ladies and gentlemen, Rockstar JT, how you feeling, bro?
I just want to say what's up to the people all around, you know, whoever's watching. Honored to be on here. I've been looking at all of your interviews, bro, and
All of them?
all of them.
All
like
of them.
The show
You know, everybody say that, but then they always butcher their intro, so I don't really know if any of y'all really watch my interviews.
I watch your interviews, bro. They are really, really good for our space. I'm like, man, like, they're really good. I appreciate it, bro.
I appreciate you. Shout out to the homie Mowgli, the iceberg, in the studio audience, just in the background. In case you guys wondered, that is Mowgli, just chilling.
On the cue.
So, man, tell me about where you from. What is your background? What do you do? Let's just start where you're from, and how you grew up.
Yeah, so I'm from Montgomery, Alabama, straight out of the Gump. They call it the Gump. I grew up like in a single parent home, so I never had a dad. I never had a dad in my life. I just watched my mom struggle all her life, you know, to have us eat. You know, like you have to do anything as a parent to have your kids eat. So like growing up with my sister and my mom, just seeing them like as ladies having to deal with all of this stuff. You know, my sister's like around my age. Just seeing them like having to deal with this is like hard. I'm like, man, like, so I have to go hard in my life to be able to provide for them. You know what I mean? So, man, I love my city. You know, I just feel like a lot of times my city's really limited. It's not a lot of opportunities there, you know, but I want to be able to create those opportunities in Montgomery because it's nothing like if you live in Atlanta or you live in, you can live in Auburn, Alabama, and it's like Hollywood compared to my city. I'm not joking. Like Birmingham, Alabama, like they have more stuff. So I just want to be able to invest in my community, and like Montgomery is a beautiful city where I can see a lot of opportunities coming out of. So.
That's dope. And it seems like, based on social media, that there's been just some horrific things that you've experienced just recently locally of friends being taken, just situations that just are utterly tragic. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, man. So it's crazy because it always gives me like depression for some reason. I don't know why when I think about a lot of this stuff. So in January, I lost like two friends. Like I lost a girl named Jada. She had cancer, and I lost my homie Big Daddy. They call him Big Daddy, Jalen. So I'm sitting in my house. You know, I just got news that my homegirl died from cancer, and I'm like, okay, what's going on? Like, I didn't even know that. I didn't know that they told her she only had a certain time to live because like I'm so busy, and that's one thing that I regret, like just not being able to check on your friends and stuff because music is really, really busy. So I wish I had the chance to check on her before she passed. So 2 hours after I found out she passed, I'm laying down. I'm like sad, shedding tears a little bit. And then I hear like 5-6 shots go off. I'm like, what's going on? Is
Right
it just,
after you found out?
Right after I found out she died. It was crazy. So I'm like, man, I'm laying in bed, and I'm like, what's going on? So my mom, she wasn't at home during this time, and it was late, like 1 a.m. I think she went to my grandma's house or something like that. Spend the night with her. So I'm like, yo, like what's going on? And I wake up and I call my mentor. Well, I text him. I'm like, bro, like you got to get up right now. I don't know what's going on. All I know is like if I go outside, I'm gonna pass out because I'm already. Like my legs are already weak, my body's already trembling because I heard about the tragedy that just happened with my friend. So when I heard that, I'm like, man, what's going on? So all I hear is screaming and crying. I'm like, man, what's going on? I'm not going outside because if I go outside right now and I see a dead body or I see people crying, I know I'm gonna lose it. So I'm like, man, God, like, what are you trying to show me right now? So I get a text message from my friend Kevin because he came up the street. I was not going outside. I was sitting on my couch, like just trembling, like I was having a panic attack. And I didn't share this, but this is my first time sharing it. Like I was having a panic attack, and I didn't know what to do. I never had a panic attack before, so I'm like, man, what happened? Like, what's going on? He was like, man, he texted me. I still had the text message on my phone. He said, Big Daddy is dead. So 16-year-old Jalen Sanders, he got shot in the face twice. Jeez. When he was asleep. 16 years old. He's like, I live right here. He lives like right next door to me. So
this is like a drive-by.
Drive-by, yeah. So it was so people like to give consequences in the hood. There's some stuff that was going on in my community with a people group who lived like right next to us, and like it's like different people groups. Like it's the West Side people group and the North Side people group. So it was some drama that they had going on. Nobody still knows who did it, but we have ideas not of a person, but of the situation. And all we fighting for is justice. Like whoever murdered my little friend, like he didn't get justice yet. We don't know who it is, you know, and I just want to find that out so I can be at full peace, because I'm not at peace. I'm like, man, like all I see is his mom like putting pictures of him in a casket, like just saying like, this is my baby. Anybody know anything, you'll get a reward. And I'm like, man, like this dude really was not in the streets. He was a good guy. Like I don't say that about everybody, but all he did, like little short guy, all he did was play the game, wasn't in the streets. And to see his life get taken from him, man, he was so young. I became a Christian when I was 15. I was about to turn 16. Like, man, like you could have been doing great things, you know? I don't always believe in God takes people, you know, like it was God's plan that he died. I don't always believe in that, you know what I mean? I feel like the enemy plays a big part in taking people's lives as well, too.
I think the thing that's unique is watching it on social media, and not to take like a social commentary or a political commentary, but how outspoken you've been about this. Like you're so adamant about like, we need to find out who did this, you know. And some of the pushback you get in more conservative circles is like, why aren't black people talking about black on black violence? It's such a shallow thing, and it's like, bro, there's all kinds of people talking about black on black violence in the black community, and you are an obvious example of that, where you're taking a stand and you're saying, we need justice for this situation, and you are very adamant and vocal about that.
Oh, definitely, man. It's just like, you can't ride around taking lives and then don't speak on it. Like, how in the world can you do that? That is demonic, it's sick. And I went as far as, I'm like, man, like, I said on Instagram one time, I said, over my dead body, we gonna find out who did this. Not because I want to act like that, but it's just because, like, he's 16 years old. He just turned 16. He has a twin sister, a mom, an older sister, a little niece who loved him so much. And I'm like, man, like, I don't care. Like, me, if you want to, people seen the video. Like, I have a lot of people following me in my city, so they know what I'm talking about. They know the videos I posted. So if anybody want to say I said anything, that's fine. You know what I mean? Like, I would tell. Like, if I find out who did it, I'm gonna tell. And I don't care. You know what I mean? It's not snitching. It's you trying to get justice for your 16-year-old little friend who died. This man's mama's stressing, you know? And I'm just like, I don't know, man. Yeah.
Do you think that, now the flip side of this is like, you have a reputation, a connection to your local community. You're speaking out. You are not a street guy. You know what I'm saying? So it's not like you said yourself, if I find out who did this, I'm telling. So you're not on that like toxic, like no snitching, no cooperating. Like that's silly. Especially if snitching is when two people commit a crime together and one tells on the other. You know what I'm saying? When someone shoots up the next door house and you're trying to figure out who did it and you guys trying to get justice, that's different. But I say all that to say, you have deep roots in your community. You come from the bottom, and you're a part of Christian hip hop. The majority of, not majority, but a lot of the consumer, I don't know if it's the majority, a lot of consumers in Christian hip hop don't know your context. They don't understand where you come from. They've never been in a neighborhood like yours. Do you think there's a disconnect and maybe a lack of empathy extended to you by some of the families? Because I see you on social and you seem to be getting frustrated with some of the families.
Yeah, it's weird because, you know, a lot of people want you to be what they want you to be. I feel like like you said it one time, like I'm not gonna mention the person's name, but you talked about how because you didn't do Christian rap like that. Like you spoke about your life, you spoke about testimonies, how people were, you know, condemning you and saying this and that about you. So it's just like now for me, I'm giving my life story, I'm giving what's going on, and now people are like, man, this is that, you're ratchet. Or somebody told me, man, like I posted a picture with a rapper, like a guy named Black Boy JB, and I'm like, okay, I posted a picture, he had his middle finger up. I'm like, bro, I take pictures with all of my friends from like whoever did that. I still post a picture, not for clout, but because I want to tell people like it's different types of lives that you can live in this Christian whatever. You know what I mean? I feel like people feel like, oh, you can only be in Christian bubbles or you can only be around Christians. But it's just like for me, man, like I brought homies with me now. You feel what I'm saying? I have homies with me now. So it's just like, man, like they don't go to church like that. They go sometimes, but they ain't really involved in ministry and stuff like that, you know? So this is the people who I'd rather hang with because, man, when they look at my life, or when anybody looks at my life, they see the glory of God through my life. The way that I express myself, I was talking to somebody earlier, I'm like, I never, ever, like, I don't know what growing up in Christian culture is. So I don't know what you have to say. I don't know how you have to dress. I don't know, like, people say, oh, like, you can't smoke, you can't drink, you can't do that. I'm like, man, I didn't know this, you know? So me expressing my liberty sometimes, I feel like people condemn me because they feel like I know this stuff. And I'm like, okay, teach me this stuff. Like even fans, I'm like, bro, like, I don't know what fans want to say. I'm just being me. I know when I was really 15 years old when I got saved. Like, I got baptized before that. That's another story. I was 15 years old in Atlanta, Georgia when I got saved, and I still lived in the hood. I live in the hood now. I'm not moving from the hood right now. Like, I'm not in a position to. So it's just like, man, I can only be what I know. Not saying that I'm trying to live against God. I'm not living against God, but it's just like the way that I carry myself is different than the average just regular Christian who grew up in youth group. So,
and I appreciate that you aren't on the whole like I'm not a Christian rapper, CHH. Like I appreciate that you're like nah, like I'm a part of this community. You know, help me. Like you've been open to that, and I've even called you. You know what I'm saying? And been like, hey, bro, like. I think it wasn't a cigarette. What are those kids? The vapes.
Vape, yeah.
Like you was smoking a vape on IG and blowing smoke.
Right.
And I was just like, yo, like, bruh, like, this is weird. Like, it's like, I get it. And I don't, but it almost, you know what I mean? And I just called you and you were like, initially we talked and then like I think, did we have a FaceTime or was it just a phone call?
I think it was a FaceTime.
I
think it was a FaceTime.
And I appreciated just your humility in that and just being like, bro, like, I don't be knowing sometimes. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, man, that's like I was like, he's a good kid, man. And I think sometimes people are so quick to publicly rebuke instead of privately coming and saying, hey, this look a little weird. You know what I'm saying? You might want to reconsider this move because this may not be the wisest thing to put on there. You know what I mean?
And that's what me, it's just like, bro, like the thing is we have to be able, like, if I have your number, like I feel like a lot of people, even like some artist friends, they feel like sometimes you're doing this or you're doing that, and they judge you off you put on. But I'm like, if we're friends, like reach out to me and hit me. That's all you gotta do.
I tell people, you see me out of pocket, yo, you bitches hit me up. Bro.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
And when you don't do that, I feel like that is just assuming something about somebody. You know, I don't know how it is. I really don't know. I just got involved in this Christian hip hop community and stuff. I just really started being around my heroes. Like before me and you met each other, I was like a fan. You feel me? Like I used to listen to your music all the time. I still listen to it, but like Dream Junkies and all of that.
You sent me my set list.
I did.
You put the set list. I literally put my set list on like Chad Horton's Instagram post. I was like, you do this song, this song, this song, this song. And I was like, Chad, this ain't me trying to, like, this wasn't contrived to try to get me a longer set. It was super funny right on Instagram. So I do appreciate that. We did A3C tonight. I've seen you perform before, but tonight, it seems like the element, the new records, you made that environment work for you. You know what I'm saying? You was in the crowd, on the stairs, in the crowd. I was like, this man Rockstar is killing it, bro. Do you feel like you finally found your pocket with the music?
I feel like I'm getting way better. Like so you could say I found my pocket, like, because like my old stuff, I feel like I was talking to my friend Big Ye today, and I was just like, bro, I feel like I was more passionate about like spreading the gospel and stuff back then, but now I feel like I'm better with music. I wanted it all to balance out, if that makes sense. Like my new stuff is really good, and I'm like, man, like now I'm finally learning the craft. So this is what I never told anybody this before. I stopped listening to secular music for a long time just because it was causing me to stumble and think this way and think this way. And I feel like that put a limit on me from my old music. But now that I'm back listening to like mainstream music, I'm like, bro, like I can really hear how people sound, not try to sound like them, but try to stay relevant and try to stay up to date with my sound, because I can kind of sing a little bit and I can rap. So it's just like, man, I feel like now I'm finally just in my bag with everything. Like every record I put out so far, like Drip Bayless, Run It Up, like these songs got over 100,000 streams.
Shout out to John Keith in the studio audience, just watching himself in the video. We gonna acknowledge you, champ. We gonna acknowledge you. That's dope, man. What's next? What's next for you? More singles, EP, LP. What you got cooking?
Yeah, so I'm always cooking. So I'm working on a project. I've been working on this project almost. It's gonna be a year because I dropped one in 2018, Street Sign Me Volume 1, 2018, and I'm gonna do it like a sequel. So basically, like this project is what it is. It's like I'm putting myself in a mindset of somebody else, and I'm trying to find out like how street dudes think. Like when I dropped
You're doing a concept,
bro, man, and people don't get it. So I got a song I did tonight. I said like it's called Light Up the Night, and basically it's like as Christians, man, like you gotta understand like people battle. So I got saved from this, so I want to help dudes get saved from this. I want to help dudes get out of this situation. Like being in the streets and being in the hood, struggling all your life is not fun. So I'm trying to think like these people. Sometimes even me, like now, sometimes some days I feel more godly than I do on other days. Sometimes my mind is like lustful. So I got a song called Light Up the Night. Like it's a single coming, and it's just like I said on there, and a lot of people didn't approve a lot of the stuff that I said. I said like bust down on there. Like I said, I just want to see you bust down right here. And what I meant by that,
the John keeps hand up in the background. Yeah, come back, bro.
Man. So what I meant by that is like I want, like honestly, if we, like the Bible says, if a man says without sin, he's a liar and the truth isn't in him. So it's just like, man, if we. Like that's one thing. My problem with Christian hip hop is like you can't say certain things because this is too far or this. But I'm like, bro, our minds are lustful. Like, bro, our minds are lustful. So I'm trying to put myself in a guy who's a Christian. He got saved at the end of Street Sign Me Volume 1. I did a song with Montel Fish and Big Ye on there called Hey God. So it's just basically this dude crying out to God. So I'm coming back. And when you're in the hood, bro, it's hard to live for the Lord, bro. So I'm like, okay, how can I relate to my community? My dudes, like, what they do. One time my homeboy said, he was like, bro, when I go to one of your shows, he said, bro, I'm going to be having a girl under the stage. Like, I was like saying stuff like that. So these people, like, having real, like, knowledge of God, if that makes sense, but they don't know how to, like, really express it. I want to, my music, I want to like people to express their love for Christ and really submit to the Lord. So that's why I do records like that, so I can catch them. It's like bait. You catch them, you listen to the end of the project, or you hear another song by me, you're going to get introduced to the Most High God. See, yeah.
That's dope, man. Any final thoughts, closing remarks, anything that we should be looking out for?
I just want to tell everybody, man, if you're dealing with mental illness, you know, like me, I struggle with depression sometimes. Just keep going, man. Like even with me, I get so discouraged all of the time. Like, man, I want to quit sometimes. Don't give up on your passion or your dreams. Like, it takes longer when you're doing an indie. It takes longer when you're doing it more when you're doing it more organic. It takes longer, but you just got to keep pressing, and eventually, man, I feel like it's gonna prosper if you just stay faithful to it. So yeah.
Amen, man. There you have it, Rockstar JT. Make sure you following him on the socials. Stay locked in for his music. And those of y'all that are like triggered by this conversation, extend empathy. To try to put yourself in his shoes and understand his framework and how he's experienced the world, and that we're not all the same, and we have different challenges and different struggles. And I appreciate his brother being vulnerable. So thanks, bro. Appreciate you coming on, man.
Love you, bro.